Hello, everybody, and welcome to another informational video from CSN Technologies. This one has a little information about the new firmware update 8.600. We've added a lot of features. I'll go over them so that everybody can understand what they are. Everything will be documented in the new user manual, which should be out shortly. Before you do any updating, I need you to clear your QSO log and delete it. So back it up and delete it. The QSO log should be kept someplace else anyway. We are just like a scratch pad, not meant to store your log for long periods of time. So that's one thing, because your log file will be corrupted. So we need you to clear, download and clear your log file. The other thing that could happen is your frequency database file could be corrupted also. If it is, just go into this TLE frequency database and do the reset from internet. You'll have to add your RIT offsets and your PL tones back in. But it's something that could happen. It's not going to happen to everybody, but it could happen to you. So let me start. We always advise that you go and take a look at the change log. So here's the new firmware that was released yesterday, version 8.6. Some new things that we've added is send frequency updates to SDR Hamlib simultaneously with radio updates. We've added the ability to report satellite status to the CSN status page, show the satellite indicator in the next passes and view window, changed AOS and LOS time on your actual SAT display for the time to go. We fixed the footprint in the map for GreenCube and a couple of the other satellites. We've added a transponder bandwidth indicator. We added an option to set or not set the radio tuning steps. We've added a point to LAN in the control box page. So I'll stop there. I'll go over some of the features, and then I'll continue down. So in the control box, we've added a point to lat and lon, so you can put a latitude and longitude in here and hit go, and your antenna will go point toward that latitude and longitude. A couple of our customers asked for that. Here you can also put in a grid square, or you could put in an elevation and hit go, and it will take you there. So that's one of the features there. The second feature is the SDR feature. So we can send to your 9700 as well as an SDR at the same time. What that could be used for is grabbing data from a 97 at a different baud rate than other than the 9700, you can use the SDR to grab data that's coming down at different baud rates that the 9700 does not support. What you have to do is put the IP address of the SDR dongle and the port where it is, and the SAT will send commands to it. If you're not using a 9700, you can choose 7100 or other radios and use the SDR as the receive and use the radio as the transmit. If you just want to use the SDR, you can just choose this, and it will send the commands only to the SDR. To go along with that feature, right here, we have the SDR button. If it is pushed, it will let you use your receive SDR frequency and upload that into the SAT, which would then adjust the Doppler on your radio. If not, it works the opposite way. You would control the frequency on your radio, and it would send it to the receiver. So that button has to be pressed for one direction and not pressed for the other direction. The other thing that we added is the report status. So if you have a satellite loaded, so let's say we have load in the ISS. Mine's going to take a second because I don't have a radio hooked up. Once the transponder loads up, then let's say you're working the voice repeater, you can come over here, you can click on the status report, you could say that it wasn't heard, you could say that you only heard the beacon or telemetry, or you can say that it was active and that you got to use it. When you send that, that will automatically send it to the CSN status page, which you can look at from your View All or Next Passes tab. We are going to add it into the Passes tab up here in the ground track eventually in a future update. Now, depending on which transponder you have picked, if you are on APRS and you report it, you're going to report the APRS. If you were on the VU transponder, it would report that. For some of the other satellites, if you're on FT4, it would report that. If you're on the voice repeater, it would report that. So that's how that works. And then here under the Next Passes tab, you can see that we have a green diamond. If you look at the diamond, it'll tell you who actually made the report and that it was active. So we have a lot of active satellites here. It looks like the Tevel has some information here that it was not heard. And then you have yellow. So you have 3 different colors. You have yellow, red, and green. And if you click on it, it will also give you some further details and tell you who has been reporting it. And you can see what part of the world they're in, their call sign, their grid square, and you can see what transponder they were using. So today on the 24th, we had about 4 people report that the ISS was active in different parts of the country. And that's how that will be working for you to see. Eventually, we're going to make a page that's going to show all the status, very similar to the AMSAT status page. The next thing that we added was a bandwidth, little bandwidth indicator here. So if we go to RS 44, once it's loaded in, what I would want you to do is click on the frequency right here. And here you have a little bandwidth indicator. So for the RS-44, it's about 60 kilohertz. So if you put 60 in there, you have 30 below the center and 30 above the center. And as you turn your VFO knob, if you go outside of the passband, this box will turn red, letting you know that you are outside the passband. That was a request from the AMSAT satellite team that also requested this quick CW button. So we thank them for the suggestions, and we added it for them for this field day. All right, let's go back to the change log. So that's all good. That I showed you the bandwidth indicator. Right here under the radio setting, some people did not want us to adjust the tuning step. So you have a choice to turn the tuning step by the adjustment by the SAT either on or off. I would leave it on. We know that it works. Some people just want a little bit more fine tuning. You can try it, but just remember that you disabled it in case you're not happy, to make sure that you enable it again. I showed you the control box. Okay, so we also added latitude and longitude to the ADIF export file so that you can know where you were when you were working those satellites. If you want to look back at a later date, or some places may want some proof, and you could say this is where my latitude and longitude was. Then we added the call sign and grid square to the polar chart. So if you look here, there's my call sign and my grid square. And what that will do is if you're using this box on field day and maybe the operator can't remember the name call sign of the station or the grid square, it's right there on the screen for them. Also, what is showing there is what is going to be logged. So that is very important to make sure that you are logging the correct call sign. If it has something different in there, then that's what you are going to log. We added a confirmation box when you're setting your minimum and maximum limits. We also do a bunch of UDP broadcasts for AOS, LOS, QSO log, and transponder events for those programmers that want to use some of the UDP broadcast functions. It should be defined in the manual, or you can send us an email and Keith will give you some more insight on that. We fixed the global RIT setting, which is here. So if you go to edit a transponder and you say apply RIT settings to all on RS-44, if you check that, it will apply the RIT settings for the digital, for the digital and what some of the other modes also. Just make sure that you only have it checked under one transponder. If you have that box checked in more transponders, it will create an issue. So please only have that checked for one transponder. We fixed an AM/PM bug when you were set your SAT to 24-hour mode. It was adding an AM and PM to it, which it shouldn't, so I believe we corrected that. We also fixed the name Tevel for the ADIF upload to Logbook of the World. They only accept 6 digits with the dash. I believe Tevel dash, the number was more, so it wasn't working. So we removed the dash only for the ADIF upload. When you search for it, you still have to type in Tevel dash and the number, or just get it out of your next passes or your view all tab. We changed the name from standard ICOM to 9700 and 9100 so that you know which radio you're picking under the radio tab. We also changed the label from ICOM 5100 to 5100A/E. We have some faster updates when tracking, and we fixed a bug that would cause the SAT, if it didn't have a GPS lock or in access point mode, could cause an issue with the time. So that should be corrected for anyone that was having that issue with this update 8.600. So now your time should be set correctly. That's basically some of the updates. Please remember what I said about clearing your downloading and clearing your log, and also you may have to reset your frequency database. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, as always, email us or send us a message on Facebook through on Facebook itself, and we will address the situation by email or either getting on a Zoom call with you. So I thank you guys very much, and thanks for your support. 73.